We are live. We are live. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do something. Uh, Technical difficulties all out there and everything like that. 1 second.
Okay, I thought you were recording it and then we're going to edit it later, but I'm
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We are live. Hopefully this doesn't kill my bandwidth, but what can you do? All right. My name, people who will watch this in the future. I mean, there's not a lot of people out there that's gonna watch this, but once it gets popular, my name is Marcus BC of Das Gooch. Das Gooch is a writing trio of authors who write erotica, mostly erotica fan fiction. With me today is the almighty fairy slayer, slayer of fairies, plunderer of women, and all that good stuff in fan fiction. He's an erotica fan fiction. Why don't you go introduce yourself, sir?
Hi, I'm Fairy Slayer. I know it's not a very great name, but I kind of got stuck with it by accident.
All right. Well, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you can. Anonymity and all that good stuff. Tell us what you can.
Let's see, I started writing fan fiction back in the late 90s. I came across some Powerpuff Girl fan fiction and said to myself, geez, I can do even better than this. Some of it was that bad. But so I started doing it. Seemed to be popular, but it was at the time I was just doing clean stuff. I had no idea I'd ever be doing erotic fan fiction, especially not for cartoons.
Yeah, it's like that. That can understand it. But me personally, I wrote erotica before I wrote fan fiction. I never. It was kind of. It was kind of a reverse thing. I was writing erotica about like I think I can remember my first story being when I was like 12, and it was like Sally and Billy Play House. I think that was that was the title of my first story. It was like Billy and Sally Play House, and from
Wow.
there it was like all downhill, like ridiculous.
Or uphill.
But yeah, I just wanted to this is just be like a new series that I wanted to start. Talking to fan fiction authors, interviewing them, seeing what they're up to, and things like that. So we've got your beginning. Let's talk about. Yeah, we've talked about your beginning, so let's talk about your inspirations. What inspires Fairy Slayer to write stories and come up with your brilliance, basically?
Well, in the beginning, when I started writing erotica, it was basically almost as a lark. I was chatting with some people who were looking at some Simpson stuff, and more specifically, Lisa Simpson was the popular one in this group. And they were doing some open canvas drawings, and I just sort of ad-libbed a little story, and they said, "Oh, you should save that and turn it, edit it and turn it into WWOEC and make it a real story." So I did. Got a lot of positive feedback, and I think the feedback was what drove me to go ahead and really get into it and do a lot more.
All right. So you felt like that was a stepping stone. You knew like, okay, I'm gonna be doing this. Were you like nervous? Were you apprehensive about the because writing about cartoons, doing doing the naughty naughty, isn't really positively seen in society. I mean,
Well,
I,
I had the shield of anonymity up, and that was a great relief as far as writing any kind of fan fiction. Some of it, my old stuff, was traced back to me personally, and that was a little embarrassing. But at least writing under this name, no one's going to show up at my doorstep or give me a call and say, "Hey, I saw the story you wrote, you sicko," or anything like that. So I'm actually, it was a lot easier to go ahead and even just trying writing anything, even comedy, under my name, under my alias, than trying to use my real name anymore.
oh yeah, for us, it was like in high school we were the three. We weren't like outcasts or anything like that. I had my sports, and David had his like international clubs and book clubs and stuff like that. And Dietrich just kind of did his own thing. He didn't really follow nobody. He just did his own thing. And but when we started writing, it wasn't like not so much that we tried to hide. We came up with the name when we started writing, and then like I was part of the writing club of my high school, so they knew what I was writing about. And they like because I'd bring it in, and I like draw. I like write everything in like a notebook. I didn't take notes in class. I just wrote fan fiction
Wow.
or like erotica in class, which kind of messed me up in the future. But anyway, we didn't really, people knew like the people in my writing club knew like, oh, Marcus, yeah, Marcus writes erotica. He writes pretty weird, pretty freaky erotica. Like, cause I like to call it realism. I enjoy realism, meaning that like, say if I'm gonna write about say Ben 10, and it's like I'm following the universe of Ben 10, or just basically using the characters from the fan fiction of Ben 10. The only way I'm gonna really change like ages per se or anything like that is if I'm writing about like if I say Ben 10 plus 5 or something, 5 years in the future, I'll go to Ben 10 Ultimate Universe. But if I'm writing about Ben 10 like the original series of Ben 10, I'm gonna do my best to, and I look at it as a challenge. I'm gonna do my best to write in character as they are, and the challenge is to write the erotica scenes with people of that. Like you gotta put your mind, you gotta put yourself in the position of the person that you're trying to write for.
Oh yes.
How you know what I mean, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I struggle a lot with trying to. I go back and look at something I've written and say, wait a minute, this voice is all wrong. I have to figure out how this person would talk. So I'll watch a couple episodes or just think on it a bit and then say, okay, now I know how they. I remember how they speak, how they should sound, if they should be a little obnoxious or a little timid, or how it should come out. It's been tough at times. It's really tough when I'm doing first person, which I have only done a couple times, but it was actually a lot of fun once it was done.
Oh yeah, first person is like it can be like I find the most difficult aspect I think I find about it is like I still have a bit of a problem. It's writing. It's writing like in like it's like third person, then writing in I think it's called second. Like it's third person. It's writing in the two different like views. Like you might have, for instance, if you're writing about like the Powerpuff Girls or something like that, you got the just the third person, then you have Professor Utonium, how he's affected, and then you have whoever that you're pairing with Professor Utonium, how he's affected. You want to get that, you want to make that fluently. You want to make it so if you're saying like, let's see, the skies, the darkened night skies, and the stars in the skies, like let off such and such light or whatever like that, illuminating her pale skin and making it shine in ethereal form or something. Something like that. You wanna be. I find it's best to be as descriptive as possible. I follow like a nice little four rule, a nice little four or five rules. Be descriptive, be realistic, and in a way be realistic. Try to make it like girth, but don't add too much girth, and make it believable. Make it faptastical. That's the word that we came up with. Faptastical.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's all about making really what it sums down to is that it's as simple of making. You're trying to get the person who's reading this randy. You're trying to get them. I couldn't tell you how many times I've gotten emails saying like, oh man, this just really got me. Like I've gotten emails from like female viewers, like because when I was writing erotica, like because I wrote on ASSTR. I don't know if you ever heard that website.
Oh yes. I used to actually
ASSTR.
subscribe to the news group itself.
I wrote on ASSTR under a whole different alias, and I'd get like emails and stuff talking about like, oh man, we love your work. Oh my god, this is like awesome. Because I was like, I don't really write romance, but I can write like dark stuff. Like say a girl gets kidnapped and she doesn't know what's gonna happen to her. She gets like manhandled and treated badly and raped and stuff like that. Just as she thinks she's safe or something, she turns out she's worse than before. Or say you have like you have an orphan who's been orphaned because her she had abusive parents and then they died in a car accident and she's like orphaned or whatever and she needs to be rehabilitated or whatever like that. She goes to a home and she thinks the home is like the best thing in the world. It turns out it's worse. It's just the same old, and she mentioned it's just dark stuff, and people seem to like that. So
Oh yes, I have some very actually my getting back to first person, I think my two darkest are first person, and I like the limitation of only being able to see what they see, but also in the with the darkness in the first person, you also get to feel a lot more for the character. It's a little more restrictive, but it really is great for getting into the personality and trying to mine the depths of any character that exists. And
Oh yeah.
I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, there are some seriously dark stories out there. Like I remember I was on. I think I was. I think this is. Cause I'm checking right now because I know. Like there's this one story for. I don't know if you've ever written a story for. That's what I'm trying to check. Have you ever written a story for what the fuck is this? Recess.
No, not yet.
There's this one Recess story. When I'm trying to see. It's like one of the few Recess stories um, on adult fan fiction, and it's like
Oh, by
really.
Evil Fairy, maybe.
Huh?
By Evil Fairy?
Evil Fairy. That might be it. Let me see if I can find it. Are you Evil Fairy too, or are you just Fairy Slayer?
No, Evil Fairy is a very good friend of mine. We
Oh
do
well,
we do a lot of proofreading, and we even edit each other's works now.
yeah. Well, it's like yeah. I think it's called yeah. It was Ashley's Secret.
Yes, that's a
Oh,
fantastic
that's
story.
that was a good one. That was a really dark one. Like I got like not so much chills, but I got like a oh yeah type moment when I'm reading that one. I want to see if I can post that link to the story in the description later when we get done with this. But that was amazing. Let's talk about your current stories. Are you working on anything current right now?
I've been in a bit of a dry spell. What I've done actually is gone back to some old fix. I took a Mother's Day story that I started 18 months ago and had missed the deadline for, and I sort of finished it up. I don't know if it was came out half-assed at the end. I think the problem was that I had a lot of great humorous bits in the beginning. It started right with the action and then had some good fun parts. And I think I lost steam. I kind of lost my way, which happens a little too often. I have another story from 2009 called Candy, Little Girl. It's a Phineas and Ferb fan fiction. And I wrote about 6 chapters of that, and I got to 7 and said, no one's going to believe this. I've recently picked it up again, and I'm slowly trying to slog through it and see if I can fix the believability or at least smooth the transition into what has to happen to make the story go forward. I've been a little dry as far as new ideas, but that's just situational. I had a really rough year last year personally, and that kind of put a damper on things. But
Uh, this,
I'm ever hopeful.
I think there's one thing I like about you though is that you like for I think one of the most difficult things I found doing is like it was simple for me. I can write erotica for anything. A plus B, A plus B, you get C type thing. But it's what I would do. I would kind of get lazy with it. I'd write A plus B plus C, but replace A, B, and C with whatever freaking fandom I wanted it to be in. But then I had to
Uh,
like. But you can't, yeah, but you can't really do that because that brings up mistakes. But what you do, yeah, I see you have stories from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Ruby Glooms, uh, The Simpsons. You got all these different fandoms, which is good. It's good. Like you got. I don't think I've ever been able to write a story about My Little Pony simply for the fact that I find it difficult to write anthropomorphic stories or like not anthropomorphic but like animal stories. I can totally write about shit getting like ambushed by a dog or something and like taken to town. I can totally write about that, but when it comes to like if I
Talking
probably
animals.
yeah, I could probably try to write about Twilight Sparkle because it's probably not even that difficult, but it just doesn't come to me. I gotta kind of have a thing for it before I can write about it. So.
Yeah, it was a little tough. That one of those grimdark stories I have is called "My Absolute Mostest Horriblest Day Ever," where it's first-person Pinkie Pie describing a really horrific situation, and that was a lot of fun because I really had to try to stay in her attitude, her very usually upbeat attitude and silly and kind of absent-minded. And it actually made things go a lot faster because I didn't have to describe everything. I could just go blah 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 at some points, and everyone knew what was going on, but I didn't have to sit and write dialogue that she then had to repeat word for word. So that was actually a lot of fun to do because the character is just so wonderful to use, so much fun. And even for a very dark story, it was still just. A lot of people said it was fun, dark, weird, crazy, torturous. The torture in the story, not torturous to read, I hope. And but it was fun just from something so dark from such an upbeat point of view. So that was definitely an experience.
Oh yeah, man. Like, do you have like, would that be like your favorite story that you've ever written, or do you have a favorite? Like, what are your top five? Do you have a top five yet, or are you still in?
I don't have a top five, but I do. I actually started a thread on our forum a while back saying, "What is your one absolute best creation, in your own opinion, for the artists and the writers?" And mine is a Yin Yang Yo story called "Payback's a Pussy," because I had the idea, and from start to finish, it was just a blast to write. I go back and read it, and I laugh my ass off and say, I forgot I put this scene in. Oh yeah, I didn't remember this part, and it just makes me laugh every time. And it may not be the greatest piece of literature out there, but it really is my favorite just for how much fun it was to write and how well it holds up even years after the show's off the air.
I think like, do you have any stories not written by you that are like your like favorite of all time? Because me personally, there was this one story that it was in a genre that I didn't even really like. That was the first story I'd read of that fandom and didn't really freaking had never written. It was called this the fandom is my life as a teenage robot. And I'd watched the show when I was a kid, when I was younger. I was in my younger teenage years, and it was an okay show. I never really got too deeply into it. But this story, man, this story was called My Life as a Teenage Von Neumann Device
Oh, by
by
Toonspew, yes.
by Toonspeed. Like, I've been the Toonspeed is elusive as crap. I think he's like totally dead. I think he's either dead and not like in real life, but he's dead on the internet. He's just not around. But
He's
dude, that
still active. He's active on WWOEC.
like he's out there like because I
Yes, yeah, he's definitely been busy. He hasn't written anything in a little while. Actually, no, maybe he did. I can't remember right now. But he is pretty active with chats and discussions and things like that. So
that man is absolutely fantastic. The way he totally mastered his ability to combine storyline and erotica and not make it seem like, all right, here's some story, and here's like erotica thrown into it. He makes it a part of the story. He makes this, he like it's like an amalgamation, the combination of the things he does with it are ridiculous. That's like one of my favorite stories. Is that story, and then there's this one story that still hasn't been finished, and it's kind of like disappointing because the story hasn't been updated in like years. It's this Harry Potter story. It's called like I think it's called Mass Snorkax and Englishman by by Kitty. I can't freaking remember her name, but it's my dude. If you got like an afternoon, like a couple whatever like afternoon or something, I'm gonna send a link or whatever. I'm gonna put the link in the thing, but it's that story by Salon Kitty. It's ridiculous on it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like the premise of it is I don't know if you watch. Do you watch Harry Potter at all?
I've seen a couple of the movies. I've never read the books.
Oh, never read the books. Okay, that might be a problem, but maybe it's not really a problem. All right, it starts off like the scene right after Dumbledore gets killed by Snape, and like it's a real flip on it. It's a Harry Luna pairing, but it's done so well. It's like Luna is like he really focuses she really focuses on Luna, who's like I don't know. I'm not very good at summarizing things. Never have been, never will. But like I will totally put this link to the story somewhere. Hold on, somewhere in this. But yeah, but let's see, crap. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. Because it's ridiculous. But yeah, you have. You said you're working on. You're pretty hit of a dry spell, but you're working on old stuff right now. You know, me
Yeah, one,
personally, I'm working on. I have an ongoing story that it's crazy. We started this. We started this. Me and David started this story for Invader Zim fandom. Like it was gonna be like it was gonna be really the beginnings of it was gonna be one of those stories where it was like Invader Zim kind of fucks everybody type thing. You know, basically it's gonna Invader like Zim's gonna flip the switch and basically start fucking everybody. And that's been done before, and it was just like one of the ideas, and that's kind of probably why it went on hiatus for like 3 years. Because I
oh,
started in 2011 and now I'm picking it up in 2015, so it's like 4 years.
yeah. 2009. I got 6 years. I got 6 years of waiting on that other story. I did actually do. Someone else started an Invader Zim story a long time ago, and then basically asked me to help out, and eventually I ended up writing 90% of it.
What the domination of gas?
No, it was. He called it Petting Doom, so that name stuck. But it was basically about the ASPCA taking Gur away from Zim for being cruel to his dog and giving them to Dib and Gaz. And then hilarity ensues type deal. Uh, I don't know, it's hard to describe all in just a couple of sentences. I don't want to throw us off track for too long. But
Yeah.
I think the only problem is it's in script format or screenplay format. So I've always had a hankering to sit down and rewrite it in prose, but just never got the chance.
I can understand that. You know, there's so many freaking projects I've like I actually there is one series that I worked on that was not specifically revolving around erotica, which I was trying to it was kind of like my thing. Like whenever you read one of my stories or one of our stories, it's gonna have erotica in it. No matter what it is. It can be like it can be one scene, but there's this one series where it did have erotica, but it didn't really revolve around it. It was for the Amazing World of Gumball. And it was the Time Machine. Basically, it was like a combination of Back to the Future and Crank High Voltage. It was like literally it just came to me, you know. I don't know if you watched The Amazing World of Gumball before.
Oh yes, I love it.
All right, it's basically this Gumball. It kind of follows my universe, the Quickies universe of Gumball. Gumball is a pervert. He's trying to get it good with the sciencey nerd girls of his school because he's yet to actually partake of the sciencey nerd girl. So he says, okay, I want to break into the robot. I think it's Bobbert. Yeah, I want to break into Bobbert's locker and steal whatever I can find in there to use it as my own. And he finds this watch that he thinks is like just like a tells the temperature or whatever, but he mistakes it for it telling the temperature, where it was a time machine called a Tepid, and he fucks up and sends himself back into time, back into like 1985, into Elmore 1985, where his mother is. So he appears in there and he gets hit by his mother, who's driving a scooter. She takes him back to his house and nurses him back, gets him breakfast and everything, and that one thing leads to another, and he ends up sleeping with her. But by all the way as this is going on, he's like, I know you from somewhere. You're familiar. Even like when she makes some pancakes, he's like, man, I've tasted these pancakes. He said these are as good as my mom used to make them. And so he ends up like screwing her, and like when he gets done screwing her, or whatever like that, like because when he gets done screwing her, he recovers, he breathes for a second. He was like, wait a minute. Like, now that the blood has rushed from back to his head, he's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And he asked her, what's her name? Like, what is your name?
Nicole.
It's like Nicole. It's like the chapter ends, and the second chapter starts with, it's crazy. The second chapter starts where he's like floating in his like mindset, or like his mind realm or whatever like that. and Darwin's like some kind of ethereal spirit, like spirit god. And he's like, you must flee, you must return to your time before things are horribly changed. And so he then wakes up and flees the house. But you know how Nicole is. She's freaking crazy. So she tries to kill him. He's trying to kill him and beat the hell out of him. And he's just running and he runs and it's like he finds out that he has to power his freaking watch via electricity by shocking himself. He can generate frictional electricity by shocking himself, kind of like Crank. You know the movie Crank with Jason Statham.
I haven't seen that. I have to
You need
say
to go
this.
see that. I say watchers and listeners, you need to go watch that movie Crank because it's fucking hilarious. It's basically the movie Crank is about Jason Statham, who's like this like hitman or whatever. He gets his heart stolen and he got an artificial heart and he has to keep his heart juiced up with electricity to live until he can find his his real heart. So it's just nuts. Basically, you see Gumball electrocuting himself with car batteries. He runs into Mr. Small when he was like a stoner, like high school or whatever like that, and has Mr. Small juice him with the car batteries by like sticking like the jumper cables on his tongue and his nipple. So he electrocutes himself. So he's running down the street. He freaking slips into it. Like Nicola's chasing him down, slips into a freaking a bar where like these two rival gangs start shooting at each other. He's through the crossfire. He has to dodge that and get away. Then he ends up in the which I created was like the Northwest power like grid or whatever like that powers the entirety of the Northwest. Like all my Amazing World of Gumball stories are situated in Washington, the state of Washington. I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure it's in California where they are, but I decided just Washington is just a good state. It rains there all the time, so I said I was gonna make it that way. So he gets to this place, and this place is like held down by like government. This government troops there and everything like that. And he slips in to try to get to the generator, which will give him enough power to send him back, and then some. And so he goes on his way. Nicole breaks in. She gets into a fight scene with a whole bunch of guards and starts beating the crap out of guards. He finally gets there, and the guards who've seen him, they're getting beaten the crap. They think it's a terrorist attack, basically. So when he gets there, the first season of it ends with him getting shot. Literally, he gets shot in the back. Like, he gets shot basically in the heart. And just as he gets electrocuted, he gets shot in the heart. And goes forward into time.
Well, it sounds like a very good character, so I've added it to my list. So maybe I won't tell too much about it.
Totally, but I'm still stuck on. I still haven't been able to. I'm still kind of can't rate the second season yet because it still hasn't come to me. But it'll come to me eventually. You know, maybe in the future somewhere.
Oh, it's not complete yet.
Oh yeah. So all right. Whew. So let's talk about, because inspiration, our inspirations are different, but basically it starts off mostly the same thing. We're watching cartoons as a kid, and we're watching cartoons as a teenager. Saying, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if this were to happen," type thing going on.
Yeah, I'm watching them as a 30 and 40-year-old. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, how old are you?
Oh, I just turned 47.
27?
47.
47.
Yeah, I'm getting up there.
You're like an OG of the writing game. Like me personally, I'm 21. I'm still young. Still young, but like at 47, hopefully I'm still writing this when I'm 40, because then that's years and years of experience of writing.
And experience and years of life, because you'll run into a lot of funny situations, and you'll hear jokes, and you'll hear stories and read other stories. But just living, you'll pick up a lot, because you'll be frustrated and you'll be down a lot, which I don't mean to put down being alive for a long time, but you deal with it through humor or fantasy, and that itself sort of stretches your muscles in your brain, and you'll find it's a lot easier to come up with ideas as you get older. Now, if you're full of ideas since you were 12 years old, that's amazing. I had very little going on mentally when I was 12, to be quite honest. I never really grew up until I was in my 40s. But No, definitely being alive and doing things will add a lot of spice to and I'm sure for you it'll be amazing. I hope I'm around to read what you're writing in 20 or 30 years.
Oh yeah, that'd be like that's the goal, man. You just wanna you enjoy writing. You enjoy. I enjoy writing, and I enjoy the reaction I get from my writing. If somebody can email me and say, "Oh man, this story was freaking amazing. It was a good laugh. It was a good heck." If somebody says like, "Oh man, this story is a great freaking got me through," it got me through. Like if I can get a, because I kind of like my ego. I have an ego. I mean, we all
Oh,
three of us had an ego.
absolutely, absolutely. That's a big. When I don't see responses to my stories, I say, "Oh, what did I do wrong?" And maybe people
Yeah,
just aren't watching me anymore, and it gets a little frustrating. I don't
yeah.
think that really puts me in a block, but it does
Well,
discourage me a little
like
bit.
yeah, yeah, true. But like for instance, my fan fiction, the new account I created on fan fiction is called the Almighty DG. Like like in a lot of my stories, I don't say if I'm writing a sex scene and a girl says like oh God, I don't say oh God, I say oh Gooch. Like like, like oh Gooch, oh geez, like it's like because I've gotten emails from like girls my age because let me tell you when I was in high school writing and being in a writing club and girls knowing that you're in the writing club and they're writing erotica and girls love erotica. They read that crap in 50 Shades of Grey and all their freaking romance novels. They love that crap. And I'm not gonna say it was an extremely successful thing, but I've gotten like like looks and holler at from girls from my writing. Not a lot, maybe like once every freaking blue moon, once a year type thing. But I've gotten emails like, "Oh my god, this is great. What are you at? What are you up to?" That kind of thing. I mean, I'm actually went to college because I was on the East Coast. Now I'm on the West Coast, and I have a hat. I have a bucket hat with with the logo Das Gooch on it. Like, let me see if I can freaking find it. Hold on. Let's see if I can freaking. I don't know how to freaking add pictures to this, but
We could do a screen share.
yeah, screen share. Oh no, no, hold on. Let's see.
Of course, on the audio podcast, it won't show up, but
Yeah, but I'll probably post. I'll probably post a link to it. But like, you can like, I have a picture where it's even on my adult fan fiction profile. It's a picture of a hat. I have a bucket hat with Das Gooch on the front of it. And I was walking on my campus because I live in the Bay Area in California. I was walking on my campus, and this girl stops me. She stops. She's like we're like she stops me. She was like, "You know who Das Gooch is?" It was like, I was like,
yes.
I was like, 'cause you gotta be careful how you answer that question. You gotta be, you gotta watch how you answer that question because you don't know what like, how it's gonna be affected. So I was like, yeah, totally. From Dasky. She was like, "Oh man, I read your stuff, man. I love your amazing world of gumball crap and stuff like that." And she's like, "You're a pervert." And I was like, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." But yeah, that's pretty much what can let me. I'm glad I could like because I don't know how long this has been going on. I don't know if it's like a time limit or anything, but I'm glad I could really because you're like you're the first person I've interviewed, you're the first person I've talked to. What can you tell people out there who want to start writing, who want to start doing this? What can you tell them that could help them start?
Um, Best thing I can say is go ahead and start writing, and then put it away for a week or two, and then read it again and say, "Oh my God," and then write it again. Because when you first start getting into it, you're going to have a lot of stinkers. I've definitely had a lot of stinkers in my time, and if I had put them aside, a lot of them never would have been released. Now that was mainly the clean fan fiction, and I learned a lot from that period. Um, Also, now I don't recommend this for everyone, but one thing I like to do is try to come up with the wildest, craziest, most out there idea, and it's just sort of an exercise. And if I can reel it back in, sometimes I can form a good story out of it. I can't, the crazy idea won't fly. I know that when I get started. But if you find something silly, crazy out there, especially if you want to do a humorous story, you can usually find, when you go way out, you'll find a lot of things lying around in the mind space, which you can then pull in. And if you reel it in enough, basically you're throwing out a fish net into the wilds of your brain and finding a few little treasures you can include with a normal, sane story. And so it's just a mental exercise. I think people should try it a little more often. But some people are afraid to go there because they think, oh, if I do that, the story will be stupid. But
Yeah, you
I don't
gotta.
know.
I think the only time, I think the only thing that makes a story stupid is if the author itself, like, thinks it's stupid, because it's what you put into it and how you feel about it depends on how good the story. It doesn't matter if people like flame you, because I've gotten flames. Oh my God, did I get flames about in the Amazing World of Gumball? Oh jeez, oh ease, did I get flames in that? I got a lot of flames. I had somebody say that some, I was like some super overweight dude who lives in his freaking mother's basement and eat Cheetos and masturbates with freaking the Cheeto cheese. It was nuts. It was nuts, and it was crazy. It was funny. It was hilarious, and I showed everybody it was nuts. But it was just it was crazy. I
I got
think
some guy once said to me, or he didn't say it to me, in his blog, he mentioned one of my stories where I don't know if you ever heard the Bill Clinton interview on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me on National Public Radio.
National Public Radio. You were mentioned on National Public Radio.
No, I wasn't, but Bill Clinton was on one of the humor shows, and they asked him questions about My Little Pony. That was for his quiz, and a lot of bronies got upset about that. And I said, well, I know what to do. So I wrote a story where Bill Clinton and Fluttershy hooked up, called My Little Pony, Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. And someone came across it and wrote in his blog, I'd like to find the guy who wrote this and punch him right in the kidney. So of course I had to respond and say, well, if you like that one, you should also read.
This is the way you can do it. I think if I were to give anybody advice about writing erotica, do your research. Research is very, 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 very important. Like, I mean, it's not important in the long term thing. I'm kind of like anal about my research. Like when I'm writing the Invader Zim story, and like right now I'm like I just got over the hurdle of writing like a major sex scene, and writing a sex scene it's simple, but not for a character. Like you gotta think about how Gaz is going to react to this, how an alien is going to react to like a sex scene, like how the alien, like for instance, the main character, one of the main characters, Miz, he doesn't think of sex as like a passionate thing. He thinks of sex as something he can use against others. He does his research. He researches the G spot, the what is the common length of an orgasm? How long will it take to basically make a woman nothing but mud? He does all this research. He researches nerve clusters and all this stuff. You got to put that in there. Like I learned a lot. Like I learned things like doing research on this story. I learned things I didn't know about the opposite sex, which is great.
Well, at the very least, people need to know where the clitoris is, at least in general.
Like, did you know Did you know that the younger teenage girls, the younger girls start masturbating. When they start masturbating, they get orgasm. They get more orgasms from the clitoris because that's I think Sigmund Freud called it masculine masturbation because the clitoris is just a tiny version of the penis basically. And the older women who are like in their 20s and like their late 20s, they get more orgasms from penetration. Like they get more
Vaginal.
vaginal orgasms rather than clitoral orgasms. Which is interesting. I had no idea. Learned something new. So now that I'm writing stories, I could probably focus more on on writing stories for of a younger couple. I could probably write like have more contact and have more stuff doing with the clitoris and write more on that than just getting all he filled her depths, like, and she lit absolutely nuts. Like, I can work on that, but
Well,
yeah, man, this I think this broadcast went really, really well. I
I think
mean,
the other nice, the other nice thing about that research we're just talking about is that sure the girl's going to get more orgasms from her clitoris, but the boy only wants to penetrate. He has no idea what that is, where it is, and I'm sure it was a little. You can throw in some frustration and some maybe even some instruction there. So I mean, yeah, I see a lot of openings for taking what you've learned and maybe spreading a little around. I don't know if that helps or not, or if people really should be learning about sex from our stories, but you know,
listen, you gotta learn. Listen, they're gonna learn. I didn't get the sex talk when I was a kid. No, no, no. The internet taught me everything I know. The internet killed my childhood. Rule 34 killed my childhood.
see, I didn't have all that when I was a kid. We still, wrote on stone tablets, and okay, it wasn't quite that bad, but
Oh man, you guys had like Hustler and Bush. Like you had Daddy Bush, then you had the Bush, and Daddy Bush. You got those like you got those jeans that went all the way. The women wore the jeans that went all the way up to the waist, and if you want to get with the chick, you gotta like get like they didn't know the definition of the neat triangle in the 70s and the
oh
80s.
yeah,
They had the Bush,
oh yes, and something for the fanfic for the age range that I write for. There's usually none of that, so
the
or very
Beaver,
little.
the Beaver. Oh man, this has been fun. This has been fun. All right, this has been fun. Do you go by fair? You just go by Fairy or Fairy Slayer or Slayer?
Very Slayer,
Cause
yes.
yeah, cause I'm putting a link. I'm putting a link in the description. I put it. I don't know how it works, but I basically put a link. I'm going to put a link into the description to your profile. Things like that. Well, you have a profile on WWOEC?
Sure, I can email it to you right now if you want.
All right, like, 'cause we're gonna put a link in there. I want to make sure we put it in the description because your stories are awesome. And evil, if I can get Evil Slayer on this, man, that'd be sick too. Because
Evil Fairy.
yeah, Evil Fairy, yeah, Evil Fairy. I'm sorry, Evil Fairy. Evil, I can get Evil Fairy. If I can get both of you guys on here at the same time, man, that'd be nuts. That'd be so awesome. It'd just be ridiculous, ridiculous good fun. I mean, because that story, that recess story, that was dark. It was dark. Like I expected it to go. I was when I was first reading, I was like, oh yeah, here it goes. Because I remember watching Recess. Corn Chip Girl was like such a frail, like frail person or whatever like that. So Corn Chip Girl, I was that. I'm not gonna ruin it for the readers, but I'm gonna put that story in the link too. But yeah, I want to thank you for answering my email. It's not. I know how hard it is for writers to like connect with other writers because anonymity. We're all
Okay.
about like
Ask,
we're all.
oh, before we go, I was just wondering if you had picked a favorite story of mine that you liked. I know you mentioned one or two, but I wasn't sure if you had one
Oh,
favorite.
there are a lot. There are a lot. But if I have to narrow it down, which I'm telling you is not it's not easy to narrow it down.
Well, that's
But
good to hear.
if I were to narrow it down to like my top three, I have to narrow it down to top three at least.
Oh,
It's
okay.
top three. I remember going because I read at obscure times of the day because I'm like, 'cause I don't know, I read. It probably I like what you're doing with the Gravity Falls.
Okay.
I like what you're doing with the Gravity Falls. You have a lot of good Gravity Falls stories that I like. Let's see. Ooh, there's a lot. There's a lot I like. There's a lot of stories that I like because you've written a lot of good stories, which is good. But to narrow it down to like the top three, it's probably the Belle of the Ball.
That was fun. That was a quickie.
That was a quickie. That was a quickie. Let's see. Oh crap, what was that story called? I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to think of what it was called. I'm trying to recall it. Oh my god, what's it called? Ah.
What was it about?
Oh, freaking! I don't know. I think it was like. I don't know. I think it was some kind of Oh, frick! It had the Simpsons, and it was like Lisa was like addicted to like anal or ass or something. I think it
Cheeky
was
Girl.
Cheeky
Cheeky
Girl.
Girl.
Yeah, Cheeky Girl. Cheeky Girl was banging. Cheeky Girl was quite interesting. It was nice.
That was a great oldie. Yeah, most of that. I think that
Yeah.
was one of my first or second or maybe third. So that's back 2006 maybe 2007.
I couldn't tell you what I was doing. I don't think I was still in high school in 2007. But, but yeah, and then there was that freaking that one not fairly odd parents, Foster Home for Imaginary Friends, when where freaking Mac goes insane like he's a coke addict. Like Mac is a coke addict. If cocaine was sugar, Mac would be a coke addict. Basically, it was like I think it was called Mallow Out or Marshmallow Out or something like that.
Yeah, where I was trying to write for Frankie being a pedo, and
Which I kind of feel she is. I mean, I kind of feel she is. Yeah, I kind of do. I get that vibe. And it's always. I'm not gonna get into that. Maybe if we have ourselves a next, little thing, we'll talk about things like that. But if you don't mind, I would like to, invite you to future of it. We could talk about things like, stories we've read or we come across, or even if it's like things,
sort of
related.
a book club for erotic fan fiction. We pick a story or two and then talk about it.
Oh, totally. That'd be amazing. That'd be interesting because I'm pretty sure people want to hear this stuff. I mean, the reason I'm not gonna really have like a video thing, so it's just like one of those videos where you're like, all right, I gotta get this assignment out the way, but I want to listen to something at the same time, and people could play this while they're like doing their work and stuff like that. Because I do that all the time. Where I watch like playthroughs of video games. I don't really like watch the playthrough. I listen to it in the background. I'm doing something else. But yeah, that'd be really interesting. I wanna really thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I like you're an excellent author. And I
Thank you
hope
very much. It's
I
nice.
hope
It's
you.
good to hear once in a while.
Yeah, you're excellent. I mean, the one that I know you're in the top 10, my friends. I mean, and I'm hoping like to do what I did, same thing I did on fanfiction.net was if I could put more stories out like in a certain genre or a certain fandom, it'll inspire other people to put their stories out and stuff like that. That's what I did for the Amazing World of Gumball. When I started putting out lemons, other people started putting out lemons, and then you got some really great lemons by other people. And then we did a combination. It was great. It's great. It was excellent. So I just want to thank you.
Oh, yeah.
This has been the fan fiction writer circle. With we got Fairy Slayer and Marcus BC of DasXGooch. I want to thank you guys for being here.
All right.
Guys
I thank you very much, and look forward to talking to you again sometime.
all right, this has been awesome.
All right.
And
Take
what I
care.
say, stay faptastical.
Excellent.
See you guys.